Good morning, everyone. Last winter, I applied for internships for good reasons, such as gaining field experiences and understanding the sacred meaning of labour. So I decided to apply for several companies. When I first submitted my documents, I felt courage and motivation springing up from my heart. Soon, the first company sent a letter with politeness saying sorry. I was perplexed by the result and thought that the rest of the companies would send a letter of recommendation. Later, I did receive letters from other companies, but all of them weren't willing to give me opportunities. I quietly closed the door and crouched down on my bed. Melancholy engulfed me and unbidden negative thoughts inflicted me. But thankfully, I became boisterous back as my parents told me that we were going to eat out. Now, I believe all of you must have felt similar emotions before. However, I would like to ask you whether that despondency was just a mere capricious feeling or a lethargy that might be termed as learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is a concept formed by an American psychologist, Martin Seligman. This phenomenon was found while he was studying depression. During his experiments on dogs, he found that dogs which were unable to avoid shots became passive and depressed, and eventually ceased to make any attempt to escape from shocks, even if they could. He coined this as learned helplessness. This is also applied to humans, people who have endured repeated aversive stimuli which were unable to avoid exhibited learned helplessness. These situations were deemed as uncontrollable, and individuals felt that their efforts are independent of the outcomes. As a result, they ceased to make any attempt. Later studies found that learned helplessness has a profound correlation with depression, and discovered that people who acquired it show a variety of symptoms that threaten their mental and physical well-being. Mentally, people with learned helplessness experience stress, disruption of emotions, and difficulties in cognitive tasks. Physically, they have weaker immune systems, which lead to an increase of vulnerability to minor and major illnesses. Learned helplessness could be acquired by people from all different ages and backgrounds. For instance, students with learned helplessness may stop studying or participating in school activities, which result in increased helplessness, continued failure, and loss of self-esteem. Adults can exhibit poor job satisfaction and have difficulties in interpersonal relationships. Also, aging individuals may respond to the deaths of beloved, loss of jobs, and the development of age-related health issues with helplessness. Even though this phenomenon is very common, not every person acquires learned helplessness. Researchers found that people's reactions or explanatory styles to a lack of control differ between individuals. This means people's attributions of interpreting adverse events could affect the likelihood of acquiring learned helplessness. Now, I want you to focus on the concept learned helplessness again. It's learned helplessness, which means that this could be fixed. Seligman explains that just as learned helplessness, optimism can also be learned. Optimism gives you an emotional resilience so that people can process failure faster and experience higher levels of self-esteem and confidence, which lead to better achievements and overall health. Unfortunately, it's been proven that pessimism is much more common and rampant in our society than optimism, since we are encouraged to cultivate skepticism, which has a deep connection with pessimism. At the same time, we are surrounded by dejecting thoughts that imply us that there isn't any more rose-tinted future for us. Also, we have to be ruthless and censorious rather than accepting and embracing to survive in this harsh society. All of the experiences we go through may have led us to form an attitude of chronic depression, and made us believe that our efforts are futile. Even more, we might stigmatize ourselves as failures unwittingly. Yet, these won't bring any success nor guaranteed future, but only drag us into an endless quicksand. We have to question ourselves whether we, with failing spirits and defeatism that we have gained throughout our lives, are hindering us from achieving success. And no matter what we think of, optimism would be the answer. Remember that no one but only you can bring about a whole difference in your life. Thank you.